After the college application deadline passed, I unexpectedly learned that my boy next door had given my list of choices to the class belle, Sabrina Lee. His buddies asked him, "You really handed your little childhood friend's choices to the class belle so she could copy them?" Sabrina's exam score was higher than mine. Our province's University of Foreign Studies admitted very few students, and she could easily push me out. Ethan Carter said indifferently, "If she gets pushed out, that just means she isn't as capable. This is what my family owes Sabrina Lee. I have to pay it back." I stood there, stunned. His family owed Sabrina, so he was going to repay the debt with my future? I turned and left, then called my grandpa. "Grandpa, I agree to study abroad." Later, Ethan chased me overseas. "Just because of one set of choices, you're really breaking up with me?" I didn't speak. I just played a recording on my phone. When he heard it, his face went chalk white. Today was a gathering of Ethan's crew, set in a private room at a hotel owned by his family. I gripped the doorknob tight, but couldn't make myself push the door open. Inside, Ethan's voice kept drifting out. "Sabrina has already repeated a year. It wasn't easy for her to get this score. Mia scored 3 points less than she did. My mom paid experts to fill out Mia's choices. If Mia can get in, that means Sabrina is absolutely secure. Mia's still young. If she doesn't get admitted, at worst, she repeats another year. I'll have my mom hire the most expensive tutors for her. Next year, she can test her way in. Honestly, what difference does it make which college she attends? I'm going to marry her after graduation anyway. If she's with me, how bad could her life be?" Someone joked, "Young Master Carter, I thought you were going to dump your little childhood sweetheart and turn to the class belle's arms. Turns out the one you can't forget is still Mia Summers. If you ask me, your taste is awful. How could a plain, countryish Mia compare to—" Sabrina lowered her voice in warning. "Watch what you're saying. What he's doing for Sabrina is purely to repay a favor. When Mia gets here, you're not allowed to keep joking." His buddies kept teasing. "Young Master Carter, you're the heir to the Carter Group. Do you really have to be so henpecked? Yeah, if it weren't for your family, Mia Summers' grandma would have died ages ago. Mia would already be a true orphan." Ethan didn't defend me. He only said evenly, "Sabrina's great. Mia really can't compare to her. But you guys don't understand the feelings between me and Mia." I stood outside the door, my insides in turmoil. Behind me came Sabrina Lee's voice. "Mia, why are you standing at the door instead of going in?" The chatter inside stopped at once. Sabrina and her best friend each took one of my arms and pushed the door open. The moment I stepped in, Ethan's posture tightened. Something uneasy flickered in his eyes, but it quickly smoothed back into his usual careless look. "Mia, you're here. Why were you standing at the door eavesdropping?" I froze. He'd done something wrong and still had the nerve to scold me? How could he toss out so lightly something like, "At worst she can just repeat another year"? When we were filling out applications, Ethan shamelessly told me Y University was right next to W University, where he was applying. He didn't want to be apart from me, and he even laid down the law that I wasn't allowed to choose anything else, said I could only be with him. He swore up and down that his mom had hired the most professional counselor, that if I picked Y University there would be absolutely no problem. But up to today, on the very day the application window had already closed, he still hadn't told me I might get squeezed out by Sabrina, and that I'd better change my choices. If I hadn't overheard by accident, and if I really had failed to get in, I might never have known why. I walked straight up to Ethan and stared him down. "You used my future to repay your family's debt, and you still have the gall to accuse me of eavesdropping?" Ethan didn't care. "Do you really need to be this mad? Didn't I say that if you really don't get in, I'll hire the best tutors for you? Next year, you'll test your way in. And if you don't get in, who else can you blame? Blame yourself for not scoring as high as Sabrina." Our classmates around us started pointing fingers at me. They sneered at me. "Mia Summers, how do you even have the nerve to question young Master Carter? Have you forgotten who puts food on your table? Yeah, if Ethan Carter's family hadn't helped, your grandma would have died long ago. Ethan's basically your second parent. And Sabrina Lee's dad saved Ethan's mom's life, so what's wrong with your second parent asking you to help repay that favor?" I shut out the noise and looked straight at Ethan. Everything they're saying, is that what you think too? He faltered for a second, then kept his chin up. I know repeating a year is hard. Mia, you know I have my reasons. Just understand me this once. Okay? You're going to be my wife anyway. It's only right for a wife to repay a debt for her husband. I almost laughed from sheer anger at his shamelessness. Fine, I'll repay your family's debt for you, then I won't owe you anything ever again. Ethan grabbed my wrist, anxious. What's that supposed to mean? I wrenched free. It means from now on, we're finished. I turned toward the door, but Sabrina stepped in front of me to block the way. Mia, don't be mad at Ethan, she pleaded. If you need to blame someone, blame the fact that after my dad died, there was no one at home to advise me. I waited until the very last hour of the application window and called Ethan in a panic. I figured our scores were about the same, so I could just copy your list. I honestly didn't think it might cost you a spot. Ethan must have been short on time and forgot to tell you to change your choices. As she spoke, she clutched my arm with a look of urgent concern. Like she was trying to calm me down, only her long nails dug hard into the soft skin of my inner elbow. A sharp sting shot up my arm. I shook her off on instinct, and she went straight down to the floor. Sabrina put on a pained expression, straining as if to get up, then collapsing again. Her eyes turned red, tears trembling on her lashes. Mia, if hitting me will help you cool off, she said, closing her eyes as if bracing for a slap. Then go ahead. Ethan rushed over, shoved me aside, and gently helped Sabrina up. He spun on me, voice hard. Apologize to Sabrina, I didn't think you were this petty. It's just one set of choices, and you'd hit a classmate? Sabrina's best friend chimed in. You're just jealous of Sabrina. Jealous her score's higher than yours. Jealous that ever since she transferred, Ethan doesn't dote on you the way he used to. With that cue, Ethan's buddies piled on. Exactly. Without young Master Carter, you're nothing. Before the class bell showed up, he worshipped you. After she came, he stopped, so now you're holding a grudge. Sabrina leaned against Ethan's shoulder, her long hair veiling most of her face, but through the curtain I could still see the smug curve of her mouth. I looked around at this room full of snobs telling brazen lies and felt how pointless it was to argue. They'd set up a phantom target. Nothing I said would matter. I left them to their chirping and turned to go. Behind me the voices kept nattering on. Ethan, we told you you've spoiled her. We were all fooled into thinking she was some heiress and treated her like one, but she's just an orphan riding someone else's coattails. Let her stew. You and the class belle are the real perfect match. Ethan's tone cooled with annoyance. Can you all shut your filthy mouths? Since when is it your turn to point fingers at Mia? If anyone gets to say she went too far today, it's me. She did cross a line hitting someone and needs to learn from it. I'll let your gossip slide this once. He never followed me. Even after I got into a cab, he didn't come out. When I got home, Grandma asked, "Didn't little Ethan invite you to dinner? Why are you back so soon?" I didn't want her to know we'd broken up, so I fumbled some excuse and changed the subject. In my room, I buried myself under the covers and cried, memories of Ethan and me, flashing past like a spinning reel. Ethan and I have known each other since we were in diapers. When he turned 6, he blew out his birthday candles and wished to marry me when we grew up. His mom, Aunt Diane, was my mother's best friend. She helped my parents start their company and grow it. But later she left and, together with Uncle Charles Carter, founded Carter Group. When I was 8, when my parents were killed in a car accident, my uncle and aunt locked Grandma and me up at home and tried to force us to sign an agreement giving up the inheritance. Ethan came to comfort me, but they kept him outside the door. So he climbed up the downspout with his bare hands and slipped into my room. Realizing I was being held, he helped me call the police. When Aunt Diane and her husband found out, they hired the best lawyers for Grandma and me and saved my parents' estate for us. Grandma was reeling from losing her daughter and from seeing my uncle's ugly face for what it was. She was in a fog. She asked Aunt Diane to help manage the company for me. Aunt Diane hesitated, saying she had her own company and her energy was limited. But if we were willing, she could merge my parents' company into Carter Group. After that, Grandma and I would be shareholders of Carter Group, receive dividends every year based on our shares, and never have to worry about our livelihood. Grandma had been a country woman her whole life and knew nothing about running a company. All she heard was that giving the company to Aunt Diane would guarantee I'd be provided for, so she signed the merger agreement with her. Aunt Diane has never shorted me financially. She raised me like a princess and told Ethan to look out for me at school. Later, when Grandma was diagnosed with liver cancer, Aunt Diane donated part of her liver to her and brought in top specialists from Carter Group's network to perform the surgery. I can never repay Aunt Diane's kindness in this lifetime. After my parents died, I stayed sunk in grief. Ethan tried everything to make me smile, and with him by my side, I slowly came out of the shadows. When I got my first period at 13, Ethan's face turned bright red as he took off his jacket to hide the stain on my skirt and bought me my very first sanitary pad. At 16, when a creep tried something with me, Ethan fought him with everything he had. He ended up bruised and swollen, but he didn't stop until the guy was crawling. Our bond has lasted 18 years. Ethan has protected me for 18 years. Even after Sabrina came into the picture recently, I never thought about leaving him. So when he insisted I apply to the school next to his, I went along with his high-handedness by default. I just never imagined he could pass along my choices to someone else so easily, that he'd go off to college with her and start a colorful campus life while I might be left behind to repeat senior year all over again. Some feelings change, and once they do, I don't want them anymore. Whether or not I get rejected by the University of Foreign Studies, I don't want to go there now, but I worked for years. Why should I end up having to repeat a year just to get into college? With that thought, I sat up and called Grandpa. Grandpa, I've figured it out. I want to study abroad in country A. I fell asleep with my eyes still puffy and red. Early the next morning, Grandma knocked on my door. Mia, get up. Little Ethan bought your favorite crab roe buns. I couldn't understand how Ethan could show up at my house acting like nothing had happened. But I didn't want Grandma to see that we were fighting and worry, so I washed up and went to the dining room. While Grandma was in the kitchen ladling out porridge, Ethan grinned and tried to wheedle me. Come on, princess. It's been a whole night. Cool off, okay? I got up at dawn to line up for your favorite crab roe buns. Look, I didn't even sleep. There are bloodshot lines in my eyes. He leaned in so I could see. I didn't want to engage. He claimed he hadn't slept, but he still hadn't noticed my own swollen eyes. Just then, Grandma came out with the porridge and set it in front of me. Exams are over. You should relax, eat, then go have fun. Don't stay home fussing over an old lady like me. After breakfast, Ethan and I headed out. As soon as we got downstairs, I tried to go my own way, but he blocked me. After you left yesterday, Sabrina cried for a long time. You ruined a perfectly good get-together. She wants to buy you milk tea today and apologize. For my sake, just let this go, okay? So he wasn't here to coax me. He was here on Sabrina's errand. I gave a cold little laugh. Milk tea? You two go enjoy it. Move, I'm going to the bookstore to buy English prep materials. Ethan kicked the roadside fence, making the iron bars clang. You brought up buying English materials on purpose to remind me you fell behind in English because you were tutoring me and Sabrina in physics. I stared at him like he'd lost his mind. So he did know I'd delayed my English for the two of them. His voice rose. I never forced you to tutor me. You told my mom you'd take over my physics. And if you're already tutoring one person, adding Sabrina was just incidental. Besides, your aversion to English is your own psychological issue. You can't take it out on me now just because English dragged your score down. I felt like I didn't recognize him anymore. When had Ethan become this shameless and unreasonable? Back then, he'd said no tutor had my patience and insisted I'd be the one to teach him. As soon as I agreed, he pulled Sabrina in too. Mia, Sabrina's dad died because he saved my mom from a truck. Can you teach her as well? Thinking of Aunt Diane's kindness, I nodded. But Sabrina's foundation was so weak that I poured almost all my free time into dragging her physics up. English has always been my blind spot, and today Ethan deliberately jabbed right where it hurt. I said coldly, I was crystal clear yesterday. We're finished. Don't come to my house again, and don't try to get to me through Grandma. Her health isn't good, she can't handle stress, so she doesn't know we've broken up. Ethan looked stunned. You're really breaking up with me? Yes. I said it, and I mean it. He stalked off in a huff. Why can't you learn from Sabrina? She's always gentle and sensible. Even though my family owes her, she's never thrown a tantrum at me. In his mind, I was just acting up. He thought I should quietly accept the possibility of failing and repeating a year. I picked out IELTS books at the bookstore and headed home, only to run into the ever-present Sabrina and Ethan at the bus stop. Sabrina was towing a very reluctant Ethan. She stepped in front of me and gave a deep bow. Mia, please don't fight with Ethan because of me. Repeating isn't such a big deal. Look, I repeated once. Aunt Diane can hire the best teachers for you. Unlike me, if my dad hadn't traded his life for the chance, I never would have gotten into Central High to repeat. That year I studied like crazy, and my score turned out decent. I just didn't want to waste it, so I asked Ethan for help. If I'd known I might cause you to miss admission, I would rather not have filled those choices. I finally couldn't hold it in. Are you kidding me? Your repeating had nothing to do with me. You didn't study seriously before. Why should I repeat just because you did? And be honest, could you have raised physics 40 points without me? If you'd simply asked, Aunt Diane would have found someone to help you with your application. But you waited until the last hour before the deadline to call brainless Ethan and say you wanted to reference my list. You know exactly what you were doing. Sabrina lowered her head, twisting her fingers. I'm not like you. Even if you don't ask, Aunt Diane considers everything for you and arranges it all. I don't dare ask her. I'm afraid she'll think I'm exploiting her kindness. Even calling Ethan took me a long time to work up the courage. I don't understand why you think I'm so awful. Maybe it's because, if you were in my situation, you'd deliberately do something hurtful. Her upside-down logic drove me crazy, and I shoved her. Ethan lunged from behind to steady her. Mia Summers, that's enough. This is the second time Sabrina has apologized, and the second time you've laid hands on her. Don't forget her father died saving my mom. What right do you have to bully a girl who lost her dad? Damn it, I snapped, hurling the books in my hands at Ethan. While he stood there stunned, I swung my arm and slapped him hard across the face. If your eyes don't work, gouge them out and take a good look. If I hit someone, this is how I do it. I'm done with you. We are over, completely. Yet you insist on dragging her in front of me to disgust me. Just because repeating was hard for her, I'm supposed to repeat? She doesn't have a father and she's pitiful, but I'm not the one who made her father die. Ethan cupped his now swollen cheek, disbelief written all over his face. Don't forget, my mom is your grandma's lifesaver. My heart kept growing colder. You're right, I admit it. That's why I said I've repaid what you owe Sabrina. From now on, we don't owe each other anything. Sabrina cupped Ethan's face and screamed at me. Mia Summers, what gives you the right to be so arrogant and overbearing? You're just a cursed jinx who killed her own parents, an orphan. If it weren't for Aunt Diane, you and your grandma would probably be begging on the street. Her words froze me. Only people close to me know my parents died in a car crash on their way to pick me up from English class. That's why I've always resisted English. My eyes burned, and I backhanded Sabrina left and right until her face puffed up. You two-faced snake, I've wanted to slap you for a long time. I was doing fine at school until you transferred in. I haven't had a single peaceful day since. After you learned my parents had died and that I lived on Carter Group dividends, you went around saying I only deserved to be Ethan's maid, that if you were me, you'd serve your sugar daddy with everything you had, and that I didn't know my place. You even smeared me as ungrateful, claiming Carter Group wouldn't have gotten through its startup phase so fast if it hadn't taken over my family's clients back then, and that I trained Ethan like a dog. The guys around Ethan are all party-hard parasites dragging him down. I only scolded him because Aunt Diane told me to keep an eye on him so he wouldn't spiral. You say your dad gave his life to save Aunt Diane, so you're more qualified than me to ask things of Ethan. You feel bad that he has to deal with unreasonable me, so you can't bear to make requests of him. I laughed coldly. I don't even know what requests I'm supposedly making. I've lived like this since I was born. Everything Ethan gave me, he offered on his own. But you? Are you really not asking for anything? Who bought you that big condo? Did your mom pull your designer outfits out of a dumpster? Did that purse fall from the sky? When you had a fever in the middle of the night, didn't you call Ethan to drive you to the hospital? You egged everyone on to call me a fake heiress and isolate me. And now you put on this act of being generous in front of me? Please. Ethan grabbed me as my anger spiked. Mia, calm down. Sabrina just accidentally blurted out that you get dividends from my family. She didn't mean anything by it. Our classmates jumped to their own conclusions. I stomped down on the top of Ethan's foot. He yelped and let go. I spun and cracked him across the face several more times. Trash, you took my deepest wound and handed it to this witch, and you still have the face to defend her. I glared at the two of them. From now on, when you see me, walk the other way. Otherwise, every time I see you, I'll hit you. Just then the car I'd hailed pulled up. I yanked open the door and climbed in. Before the door shut, I heard Sabrina whining, Ethan, what do we do? I only said the wrong thing because I saw her hit you and got upset. I just wanted to fix things between you two. It's okay, I know you meant well, he soothed. She's angry. I'll coax her when she cools off. She can't live without me. I slammed the door. Listening to those two filthy mouths any longer would have polluted my ears. In the taxi back, I blocked both their numbers. Thankfully, neither of them came sniffing around over the next few days. The study abroad consultant Grandpa found reached out to ask about my intended major. I thought of how I'd bent my college choices around Ethan and even gave up the subject I loved most, physics. This time I didn't hesitate, physics. The consultant reviewed my entrance exam scores and said I should have no problem applying for applied physics at M University in Country A. The key issue was my English. I had to submit an IELTS 6.5 by October. Thinking of my English score, 98 on the entrance exam, that felt impossible. But the consultant reassured me I could pair the offer with a language program for conditional admission. Grandpa was anxious to bring me over right away for the language program, but I couldn't leave Grandma unattended. I begged him to wait until the National Day holiday. Before then, I'd study English seriously at home. Back then, Grandpa opposed my parents' marriage because of the gap between their families. My dad took my mom and left the Song family, returning to her hometown to start from scratch. In a fury, Grandpa moved to my aunt's place in Country A. He waited years for my dad to yield, then finally sent people back to look for him, only to learn my parents had died in the crash. He wanted to take me to Country A right then, but I remembered what Aunt Diane had told me, how Grandpa had made things hard for my mom, and how much she'd suffered, so I resisted him. Adding to that, I couldn't leave Grandma, and I couldn't bear to leave Ethan, so I turned Grandpa down. Last year, Grandpa found me again and asked me to study in Country A, and I refused then too. But later Grandma learned he'd contacted me and urged me to accept him. Back then, your grandpa just couldn't stand your uncle and wanted your mom to cut ties with him. I was the foolish one who insisted on protecting your uncle, she said, crying as she stroked my hair. Don't stay tied to an old woman like me. The Song family can give you a wider future. When I finally reached out to Grandpa on my own, he was thrilled. He found me a therapist to tackle my resistance to English first. He also promised to hire the best caregiver for Grandma, so I wouldn't worry about her. I threw myself into treatment with a clear mind. Before long, the college entrance results were released. When my best friend, Lucy Chen, called to say we could check admission statuses, I was studying in the self-study room. Even though the result no longer mattered, I still logged into the University of Foreign Studies website on my phone. 4 stark words, "not admitted," made my heart drop. In our class WeChat group, everyone was buzzing about their results. A screenshot popped up. Congratulations, Sabrina Lee, admitted to the University of Foreign Studies. A stream of messages followed. Class Bell, you're amazing. Over 100-point jump in 1 year, well deserved. Here's to the Class Bell and young Master Ethan, staying together at UFS forever. Ethan replied fast. You again. If you can't speak properly, shut your mouth. How many times do I have to say this? There's nothing between me and Sabrina. My girlfriend is only Mia. How are you still daydreaming? Sabrina ed me. Mia, you blocked me so I can't DM you. How did your admission go? I hope I didn't push you out. Ethan followed right away. Mia, did you get in? Their fake concern made my stomach turn, and I quit the group on the spot. Not long after, Lucy sent me a screenshot. Mia's song must have failed and got embarrassed. That's why she left. With English that bad, who cares if her other subjects are good? Then Lucy whispered to me, Mia, did you really not get in? Yeah. That witch Sabrina, if not for her, you wouldn't have failed. And she still had the nerve to at you. I told Lucy it was fine. I wasn't planning to go to UFS anyway. I'd already arranged to study in Country A. You're going to Country A, does Ethan know? He was just saying he'd find you a tutor for a repeat year. He doesn't know we've broken up. Lucy was stunned. Mia, are you serious? Everyone thought you were just venting that day. You were so good to Ethan. I honestly thought you were his little shadow. I paused. I was blind before. I made him the center of my life. From now on, I'm the center. Lucy brightened. What's so great about Ethan anyway? I kept quiet when he treated you well, but later he hid behind that repaying a favor nonsense with Sabrina and kept things all murky. I've been sick of him for ages, some jerk with a little money who thinks he's a big deal. We hung up, and I checked the time. It was about time to head home. When I got downstairs, I saw Ethan waiting for me. Mia, you really didn't get in? He handed me a business card. This is the best tutor I could find. After our summer trip, I'll go with you to meet them. I'll wait for you at college. He just wouldn't hear me, and it drove me crazy. Ethan, we've already broken up. Please stop coming to me. I have my own plans. I don't need you arranging my life. He patted my head indulgently. Okay, this one's on me. I know you're still mad. He shoved the card into my hand. I'm gonna protect you for a lifetime. How is that me arranging things for you? That's called protecting you, got it? Remember to call the tutor. My Mia is so smart. Getting into UFS next year won't be a problem. I know you don't want to see me yet, so I'll make myself scarce. Watching him walk away, I tossed the business card into a trash can and wiped my hands hard. Every place he'd touched made my skin crawl. He'd even patted my head. No, I needed to get home and wash my hair right away. Back home, I told Grandma the news that I hadn't been admitted. I wasn't going to repeat a year. I was planning to study in Country A. She looked at me with a lost expression. If the university in Country A is better, then of course I'll support you going. You've stayed by my side for so many years, it's time you spent some time with your grandpa. I hugged her. Grandma, I'm sorry, it's my fault for being useless and failing the exam. Silly child, your future matters most, she said, patting my back gently. Don't worry, I'm in good health now. But, does Ethan know you're going abroad? He just came by and said he'd found the best tutor for you. I didn't want to hide it from her anymore. I've already broken up with Ethan. Grandma blinked, startled. Why would you two break up? Just like that? He isn't as good to me as he used to be, I said. So I don't want him anymore. Grandma didn't understand the details, but she nodded. If you say he's no good, then we won't bother with him from now on. I know we owe the Carters because of my health, but that debt is mine. You don't have to repay it for me. Recently, Diane asked if we could get our dividends a bit earlier. I figure Carter Group might be running into a few issues. I'll go transfer half my shares to Diane another day. Consider it paying back a portion of what we owe. I laughed and hugged Grandma tighter. You're still the best to me. I'd blocked Ethan and Sabrina and quit the class WeChat group, but busybodies kept forwarding screenshots of Sabrina's moments. Ethan bought me a bracelet. Thank you for the generous graduation gift. We booked a 20-day graduation tour. First time abroad for me, all thanks to Ethan. Fireworks by the river. Ethan said it's to celebrate the two of us making the cut. The comments were all fawning. Class Belle, you deserve it. Young Master Carter is so lavish. Bon voyage to the perfect couple. So those fireworks lighting up the sky had been set off for Sabrina. I swiped through the photos one by one. The bracelet was from my favorite designer brand. The tour contract listed Europe, the exact destination I'd wanted. After the exams, Ethan had said that once the results came out, he'd set off fireworks to celebrate for me. Now all of it belonged to Sabrina. I blocked everyone who sent me those messages, keeping only Lucy and a few close classmates. At last, my WeChat was quiet. In late July, the Carters threw a huge banquet at their hotel to celebrate Ethan's admission. I hadn't planned on going, but Aunt Diane called to say it was also her birthday this year, and Ethan getting into college was the best gift she'd received. Remembering all she'd done for me, I reluctantly agreed to attend with Grandma. When we arrived, I saw not only display boards for Aunt Diane and Ethan, but also one for Sabrina. They'd combined Sabrina's celebration with Ethan's. Sabrina stood at the door like a hostess, arm in arm with Ethan, greeting guests as they arrived. When she saw me, she said, a little sheepish, "Mia, we're short on time. After the banquet we're heading off for a 20-day Europe trip, so I asked Aunt Diane to merge mine with Ethan's. You don't mind, do you?" Ethan spotted me and hurried to fling off Sabrina's arm, eager to draw a line. "Mia, I thought you were still mad and wouldn't come to my banquet." I ignored them both, found Aunt Diane in the hall, and gave her a birthday present. She tried to keep me by her side, but I claimed I wasn't feeling well and refused, then took Grandma to a corner seat, planning to slip out as soon as the opening ended. Grandma looked at me with pity. "Mia, so this is what Ethan has become. I support your breakup even more." Ethan came over. "Mia, you've had me blocked for so long. Can you come out today?" I turned my head away and ignored him. He pressed his lips together, came over, and tried to take my hand. "Okay, princess, tons of uncles and aunties are asking for you. Don't hide here. Come with me and say hello to everyone." I shook my head and knocked his hand aside. "I didn't come to celebrate you. I'm only here for Aunt Diane's birthday. Keep this up and I'll leave right now." He ground his teeth. "Fine. I'll come to your place tomorrow." Grandma gave a cold snort. "Our home can't accommodate a grand young master like you, Mr. Carter." Ethan looked put out. When he saw neither of us would entertain him, he slunk off. From a distance, Sabrina watched us warily. The moment Ethan walked away, she edged over. "Mia, did Ethan tell you we're going on a trip? He originally booked it for 3. But I reminded him you need to review. A Europe tour takes 20 days. Better for a repeat student to spend that time studying. You don't mind that I decided this for you, right?" Ever since I'd set my sights on going abroad, I didn't want to deal with either of them. I smiled. "Then I wish you two a smooth trip. Have fun." Sabrina looked pleased with herself. "You're definitely eaten up inside. That calm act won't fool me." Grandma snapped, furious. "So young and already playing the homewrecker." Sabrina flushed and started to argue, but I lifted the juice glass in my hand. "Today is also Aunt Diane's birthday banquet. I'll let you off once. Keep yapping and I'll throw this in your face. My palms are itching to slap someone." The color drained from her face. She was remembering the time I slapped her into a pig's head. "What are you so smug about? You'll get what's coming to you," she huffed, stomping away. Ridiculous. After the opening wrapped up, I headed to the restroom before going home. As I was about to walk out, I heard Sabrina's voice. "Ethan, I just went to apologize to Mia again. Can't believe she's still mad after all this time. Why is she so petty?" On impulse, I tapped my phone's recorder. Ethan's muffled voice came through. "I told you, stop provoking her. She's sick of you the second she sees you." Sabrina whimpered. "I'm sorry, I just keep making things worse." "Ethan, is our agreement still in effect?" Ethan, impatient. "I told you, I regret it. Why did I get bewitched into listening to you? I saw Mia today, she's still angry. All I want now is to make it up to her as fast as I can." Sabrina said, crying. "I didn't think it would turn into this. I just wanted to give myself a chance. I thought she wouldn't figure out I was the one who pushed her out. When you slipped up, didn't I jump right in to explain? She just wouldn't accept it. And you really don't want to try it with me? Everyone says my figure is amazing. Like I said, let fate decide. If Mia failed, she'd have to repeat for a year. That year, we could be together. I'm not greedy, I only want 1 year with you. When Mia gets admitted next year, I'll bow out. She'll never know. After that, your family won't owe me anything. Are you really gonna stick to Mia Song for life? Don't you want to try other girls?" My face went chalk white. These two were even filthier than I'd imagined. Ethan sounded a little angry. "Can you stop bringing up your dad being a lifesaver? A normal car accident payout of a little over $1 million would have covered it. The big condo we bought you cost over $8 million. And I'll say it again, I regret it. I don't want anyone else, only Mia." Sabrina seemed rattled. Then, Sabrina's voice dropped to a wheedling murmur. "Go to Europe with me this once. When we get back, we'll call it even, okay?" Ethan grunted, irritated. I waited until it was quiet outside the restroom before stepping out, only to find Sabrina standing there with her arms folded, waiting for me. She looked triumphant. I lured Ethan over on purpose so you'd hear. Didn't expect that, did you? Your little lapdog sold you out behind your back, just to be with me. I straightened. Then thanks for helping me see clearly. Trash. Her face twisted. Mia-song, you should be mad right now. You should be crying. How can you be this calm? You're faking it. I dug a pinky in my ear. Can you not waste breath in front of me? I've been done hearing anything about you two gutter rats, and from the sound of it, Ethan already regrets it. What exactly are you gloating about? She snapped. Just you wait. Ethan's only bewitched by you for now. Once school starts and you two are miles apart, I'll be with him every day, building our bond. He won't be able to help himself. You only got there first. When he's with me, he'll finally see who's better, and you'll be the one he dumps. She's a complete lunatic. I corrected her. That piece of garbage, Ethan, I tossed him long ago. If you like him, pick him up, be my guest. I wish you both the worst. I left Sabrina still stamping her feet, found Grandma, and went home. The next day, backpack on my shoulder and ready for the library, I ran into Ethan waiting downstairs. Eyes red, he opened a jewelry box in front of me, like it was some treasure. Inside lay a bracelet identical to Sabrina's. Look, your favorite designer's newest bracelet. Surprise? He took it out, trying to slip it onto my wrist. I put my hands behind my back. He grinned and mock-slapped his own cheeks. My little princess, I was wrong. Go ahead and hit me. You've never stayed mad at me this long. I didn't even dare come see you these days. Please, forgive me. His act only made my skin crawl. He kept talking. I'm leaving for my graduation trip tomorrow. You just study hard at home while I'm gone. When I'm back, we'll start fresh. I want you to take me to campus check-in too. I'll go with you to get familiar with UFS ahead of time. I frowned, not wanting to waste a single word on him. At last, he tucked the bracelet away and shoved it into my hand. Since you've taken my gift, I'll take it as you forgiving me. Then he ran off on his own. I stared at the bracelet, speechless, and dropped it straight into the trash. Lucy pinged me. Sabrina was back to posting 9-grid travel collages non-stop. Mia, how does she have the nerve? She's obviously showing off to taunt you. I gave a cold laugh. She's irrelevant. Why give her space in your head? Lucy checked in gently. Mia, are you really over it? I didn't fight the dull ache in my chest. It felt like squeezing out an abscess. Hurts while you're doing it, but once the pus is out, the wound will scab and heal. I should thank Sabrina. Otherwise, I might have stayed stuck with that scumbag Ethan for life. The therapist Grandpa hired is excellent. With treatment, I've stopped resisting English. Lately, I've been studying with the top instructor Grandpa arranged. Grandma's caregiver has also started. She's very professional and meticulous with seniors. Grandma knows I still have to hit M University's English requirement to enroll and keeps urging me to head to Country A sooner, saying I don't need to worry with a caregiver in place. Ethan had said he wanted me to take him to campus check-in. To avoid letting him disgust me any further, I packed my bags and left for Country A early. August, there was nothing like our sweltering summer. Cold wind hit me the moment I stepped off the plane. Grandpa and my aunt's family were waiting at the gate. They hugged me warmly, and Grandpa was so overwhelmed he cried. Surrounded by everyone, I went back to my aunt's house, where she'd already prepared a room for me. I used to think I'd spend my whole life by Grandma's side and follow Ethan wherever he went. But once I took that first step, I realized Grandma could do just fine without me hovering, and without Ethan, I could try all kinds of new things on my own. The family I'd resisted all these years had actually been quietly waiting for me to come back to them. My cousin drove me to language school every day, and in an all-English classroom, I improved quickly. One afternoon in late August, I walked out of school and my cousin was adjusting my scarf when a haggard-looking Ethan suddenly appeared and punched him. So you're the pretty boy who stole my Mia. My cousin reacted fast, years of working out, and flipped Ethan onto the ground. Pinned there, eyes red, Ethan looked up at me and cried, I came back from the trip so happy bringing you gifts, and you slipped off to Country A behind my back to be with this pretty boy? Mia, how could you change like this? My cousin snapped, furious. Who the hell are you to tell Mia what to do? I'm her cousin, and stop spreading filthy rumors about her. Ethan froze, then mumbled, Sorry. Mia never used to spend time alone with any guy. I overreacted without getting the facts straight. I'm Mia's boyfriend. I motioned for my cousin to let him go. We've broken up, go home. Ethan dropped to his knees. I'm not leaving. I never agreed to a breakup. Mia, don't be so heartless. You're ending us over one set of college choices? I kept my face cold and said nothing, just played the recording. Ethan went chalk white. Clutching my legs, he sobbed. I was out of my mind. I don't know what came over me, but I've come to my senses. Look, I didn't agree to Sabrina in the end, did I? Give me one more chance, please. We've been together 18 years. How can we just throw that away? Watching him snot and tears everywhere only made me feel sick. Right, 18 years, and one burst of you thinking with your lower half was enough to trash the 12 years I poured into my studies. Ethan, you look pathetic. I told you already. This is the end. He still wouldn't give up. Mia, you can't do this to me. Think about my mom. She donated part of her liver to save your grandma. At that, my cousin kicked him aside. Your mom's liver? Wasn't it Grandpa who found Grandma's donor through the hospital network? What's your mother got to do with it? He stared hard at Ethan. So you're the Carter kid. Great. Back when Mia resisted us, because your family was looking after her, we threw Carter Group more than a few contracts. 3 years ago, your mom even begged Grandpa to bail out Carter Group when it was on the brink. And you kept all of this from Mia? A whole clan living large on her, and still expecting her gratitude. Shameless. We've been wondering why Mia finally agreed to study in Country A. Turns out you tanked her admission over some cheap woman. How dare you? Ethan and I both stood there stunned. The kindness I'd believed in was a lie. It was all just transactions. Ethan shook his head, desperate. No, that's not true. My mom wouldn't lie. My cousin grabbed Ethan by the collar and snarled, Get the hell out. If you don't leave, I'll beat you to a pulp. Ethan fled in a panic. Not long after he left, Aunt Diane called me. Mia, I didn't mean to keep things from you. I lost my head. I don't know how to explain. Honestly, even without your grandpa, I was taking care of you. Later, the Song family gave us several big projects. I assumed you hated your grandpa because of your mom, so I hid it. I just didn't want you upset. As for your grandma, I never thought Ethan was worthy of a girl as good as you. I was selfish and figured maybe this way you two would be steadier. Ethan's back now and says he won't go to college. He wants to follow you overseas. Would you agree to let him come, keep you company? I was silent for a long time. Aunt Diane, I'm grateful for how you helped Grandma and me after my parents died. But now I know, Grandpa already repaid your kindness long ago. I don't want any more contact between me and Ethan, or any of you, I said, and hung up. That was the end of Ethan for me. I turned back to English and threw myself into it. The following February, I enrolled at M University in Country A, majoring in the subject I loved most, physics. Getting to study what fascinated me, surrounded by classmates who shared the same passion, felt incredible. Ethan really did disappear from my life. Later, Lucy Chen gossiped to me that during Ethan and Sabrina Lee's Europe trip, Sabrina got pregnant. She hid away to have the baby and only then brought the child to Ethan. They became parents before either of them had even reached the legal age to marry. Aunt Diane was furious. She said the baby could stay, but Sabrina had to go. Ethan acted like he was possessed and insisted he had to take responsibility and marry Sabrina. Aunt Diane called him a fool, but Ethan said he had no face left to see me anyway, so it didn't matter whom he married in this lifetime. Bookmark. 5 years later, I returned home to be a teaching assistant at H University at the invitation of a senior of a senior I'd first met as an opponent at college competitions. Grandpa moved back with me and settled down again. One evening, while I was in the lab testing a hypothesis, Lucy called. Mia, check your phone, search Carter Group. Ethan's family went bankrupt. I froze. How long had it been since I'd heard Ethan's name? Lucy, breathless with the scoop, went on. The Carters had been shaky for years. About 5 years ago, the Song Group pulled its investment. Aunt Diane had been robbing Peter to pay Paul ever since, and this year the money finally ran out. Word was the whole Carter family had been blacklisted by the credit bureaus. No more young Master Carter from now on. She'd also heard that Sabrina's mother was forcing her to divorce Ethan, and had even spilled that the car crash back then had been her cancer-stricken husband's last act of support for their daughter. Is Sabrina really going to stick with a bankrupt pauper and make her dad's death meaningless? Lucy sighed and clicked her tongue. Tsk, tsk. Turns out Sabrina truly loves Ethan. Well, may the two of them be poor together for life. Wait, song group? She added, catching herself. I answered helplessly. It's what you think. Song group is my grandpa's. Lucy yelped. What? I never knew my best friend was the song group's heiress, and here you are, a bona fide rich girl, still barefaced, grinding away in the lab every day. Where's the champagne and chandeliers TV drama life? I laughed. Physics is more intoxicating than any champagne. Lucy suddenly went quiet. Mia, you're awfully calm today. I thought hearing about Ethan's downfall would make you as gleeful as I am. I blinked. It felt like listening to gossip about a stranger. After hanging up on Lucy, I called Grandma. Grandma, I'm coming over for your sweet and sour ribs tonight. Time slips by. In the end, Ethan became nothing more than an insignificant passerby in my life.